Hello, this is Taj McCameron from Sacred Places Love Letters to God. Okay, I've been planning to do this video for a minute because when I decided that I was going to do this channel, I knew I was going to re-release this word. I did this as a podcast, which can be found on SoundCloud. I might link it in the description, but I'll say about 3 or so months ago, I watched the movie Matrix 4. And when I watched Matrix 4, I was like, this is like totally speaking to the kingdom marriage thing that has been going around. Now, I don't consider myself a prophet or anything like that. I just happen to be very alert to spiritual things. It says in the Lord's word that he will pour his spirit out upon you and give his children visions and dreams and so on and so forth. And he pours the spirit out on the just and the unjust. So that's just what he does. But I saw this movie and it was like ding, 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 ding. I'm like, what are we talking about here? Now, I just released, I don't know if this is going to be a theme with this channel or not, but we're going to have to play this. Kingdom marriage related stuff. Okay. Now, I'm in a state of no comment on myself right now, but I'm going to give you what this movie gave me. I don't know if I'm allowed to give my dreams. When the Lord allows me, I will give the dreams. But what I will do right now is I'm going to give you what I saw with the Matrix. Okay? Now, Lord, cover this thing in the blood of Jesus, that the people that eventually get a chance to see this get an understanding as to what I'm talking about in the name of Jesus. Have your will in your way. Anything you need for me to say, add, or subtract, just let me know. I love you, Jesus. In the name of Jesus, much love, faith, peace, and blessings. I thank you, Lord. Let my mouth be your mouth. Let everything I say be covered in the blood of Jesus. Now, let's start. Alignment. Okay. Well, how serious you want me to go into this? Because I want to talk about my situation right now. Okay. Let me do it this way. The Lord talks to me through YouTube, okay? He uses YouTube all the time to talk to me. If I have a dream, if I have a prayer, if I have something that I'm concerned about, I don't quite understand, God will talk to me through my YouTube feed. And I'm not kidding. When I was on Facebook a lot, he did the same thing. But yeah, I'm on YouTube more frequently now, so he talks to me heavily through my sequence on YouTube. I'll never forget, recently, he gave me a list of videos. The videos that I watched in sequence that particular day actually was a word in itself. I might have a photograph of that. If I'm allowed to add it, I will. Maybe. We'll see. I don't know. But yeah, he talks to me in my YouTube feed all the time. This movie preview came up in my YouTube feed. Now, at the time, it was popular, and I said, "Ooh, me and my mom used to watch my mother was alive at the time when this movie first came out, and we used to watch that movie when it first came out. We watched the first 2 or 3 when they first came out. Matrix 1, 2, and 3. So it was like a nostalgic thing when 4 came out. So I was like, yes, let me watch this movie. So I knew it had come out, and I was like, let me watch it. Because I was seeing some things in the preview, and I was like, this is going to be a good movie. But I don't know. What is this? So we start with the title, Alignment. Am I going there, God? Am I going there? Okay. This is personal to me. I don't know how personal I'm allowed to get with this, so I'm going to say years ago, I was in this headspace where it had been a long time since I'd been in a relationship. I mean, it had been a while, and I just had a lot of people around me that were not giving me the comfort that I felt that I needed at the time. And I never been a chick that was like, "Ooh, I want to get married. Ooh, I want to." But I know years ago, I said to myself, how is it that these people, you see, you always end up seeing the good guy with the bad girl and the good girl with the bad guy, and vice versa. But why? Why are these people messing up in these relationships so bad? I said, why is this happening? And I said, I went through a relationship. I spent 7.5 years off and on with this one guy, and he was not good for me. He wasn't. And you got to understand that the devil will send people into your life to try to destroy you at a very pivotal point in time in your life. I wasted 7.5 years with this man, and the devil would do that specifically to get you off course and off kilter when God wants to get you with him. At the time, I wasn't following God like that. At the time, I didn't understand the walk of God like that. At the time, all I thought I had to do was pray. It's like, because I was taught by my mother, just pray. It's like, if you do nothing else, just pray. So I would pray. I wasn't reading the word. I wasn't doing all that. But God still answered me because I was willing to pray. So, but I noticed back even when I was with him, when I prayed, me and him would fight like cats and dogs. And I'm like, what's wrong with you? What? If I mentioned God, it was like I just threw darts at this guy. I'm like, what's... He was kind until you started talking about God. I'm like, because I always loved God. I always had a relationship with God, but yeah. Anyway, when we broke up, it had been we broke up in 2012. I came to God in 2014, and God started speaking to me about kingdom marriage in 2000 and the end of 2015, beginning of 2016. So I said to the Lord, when I started to notice some specific spiritual things, that God, I need you to show me some stuff. And what I did was, I'm gonna tell you this, I wrote down a list, and I was like, I know I said it in a previous video, follow me, because this is the right way to do it. You're not supposed to write a list, but you are supposed to write down mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, and socially what you want out of the man you desire to be in a relationship with. How attentive are they to you? How emotionally connected are you? How What type of physical condition are they in? Are they willing to work with you with that? Socially, can y'all be in the same rooms together? Whether you're public or you're not public, can y'all vibe in the same places? Stable, secure, so on and so forth. Not the things what most people pray when they pray for their list. You know what the character is. Let me tall, let me black, let me this, let me. Are we adults here? I'm 34 years old. I ain't got time for stupid. But I did that. Now, I forgot about this and all this kind of stuff. It had been, I wrote down the list. It's actually a page in my book. Will I take a photograph of it or screenshot it and add it in here? I don't know. I don't want to be that detailed. But, yeah, I made my list. It's in my book when the book gets fully printed and published. Actually, the book is available on PayHip, but when that happened, I knew what I wanted. And I remember I used to take long walks at the time. There was this reservoir that I used to walk around all the time. And I would tell the Lord, I would give him like, Lord, I'm not concerned about all that. I love you. I care for you. I don't care if this guy is long-haired Indian or short-haired white guy. I don't care what nationality this guy is. As long as he loves you and follows the characteristics that is going to be able to walk with me and the things that you're calling me to do, and yeah, whatever. Whatever your will is, let your will be done. Something happened one night, and I was upset. And when I'm upset, I sit down and I listen to music. This particular night, I was listening to some music, and I sat down and I had just finished watching a music video, and I turned around and I sat down on that corner of that bed and I said, Lord, I'm tired. Lord, I haven't had anybody in my life that was here for me. I need you, if you desire for me to be married, to send me the right person. Who is this person? And I need you to make it clear who this person is, because I'm tired. I've been through that 7-year long relationship and that was a nightmare. I don't want nothing, no foolery. I'm not giving my heart to nobody else unless they're the one that you sent. That's it. I'm done. No, we're not doing this no more. And I've been happily single for 10 years. Happily single. There's been guys that tried it. I could say there was about 7, 8 attempts. But it's like, no, you ain't the one. You're not the one. You're not the one. You're not the one. I know where God is taking me. I know where God is showing me that I'm supposed to be going. You ain't the one. I said, then a few months later, I remember sitting and I had this conversation with myself. And I said, God, I need you to make it extremely clear when this particular person is the person that you want me to be with. What the heck did I do that for? But he did it. I said, I need you to show me who the person is and make it extremely certain who this person is. Well, you know how I said that the Lord using my phone and my YouTube feed? He started to show me some stuff. Repetitively. And repetitively. And I was like, are you trying to say? Then I went out. Randomly, there was this guy that was highly interested in me. I wasn't interested in him like that. I didn't realize how highly interested that guy was in me. But I had him take me to a business event at a restaurant because I wanted him to meet somebody and I just wanted to enjoy the environment because I hadn't been out in a while. I'm at this event. I see this dude though. This isn't the guy. That's not the guy. But the guy looks like somebody. And I had a dream later that told me who that guy looked like. Then one of the ministers I listened to said that you're going to meet a counterfeit that looks darn near identical to your guy. And I'm like, identical to my guy? I let it go. Then several months later, I moved and I was on YouTube again. I saw a video of this guy who was dressed just like the guy at the bar that night. And I'm like, same coat? Same? Wait, what? And I remember that night, I had a dream. And two and two and two put themselves together. Because I had a dream of this particular person. I'm like, what? You saying, what? I'm speaking in code because I ain't telling you who. And that was over 5 years ago that I had that dream that confirmed everything. No, but periodically this guy pops up on my Instagram feed, my YouTube feed. His name will pop up. When I tell you, sometimes I regret praying. Oh, make it extremely obvious that this is the guy. Because he comes up on a daily now. But I said all that to say this. That's what alignment is. Alignment means when it's about time for things to come into manifestation, it's all going to line up. The guy, the name, things in relation to marriage, the guy, the characteristics. Because when I say every characteristic I wrote down on Mr. Ideal Guy list, yeah. All of them. Next. So, with that being said, brings me to point 1. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, but evidence of things not seen. I had a whole lot of confirmations. I still ain't seen it just yet. Not presently in the physical, but the confirmations. And the amount of stuff I had to pray into. But I ain't seen it just yet. But because you haven't seen it just yet, the enemy likes to do this. He likes to create fear. And what is fear? The acronym for fear is false evidence appearing real. Meaning, there's such a thing as monitoring spirits that will be sent to you in order for you to come into agreement with what you naturally see with your eyes that doesn't line up with what you've been seeing in the spirit. That is the substance of what you're hoping for, but you do not see it physically in the present. But the fear is the false evidence of what you are seeing in the present that looks nothing like what you've been praying for. Yes. Follow me. When you do it this way. When you make the choice to step into your identity, fear will fight you because the false evidence wants to appear to be the reality that you have to fight for the substance that is the thing that you are hoping for, but the evidence of what you have not seen yet. Okay, why do I say this? In the movie, sorry, spoiler alert for the movie. In the movie, there was a scene in there where Neo was like, he was going through his day-to-day life, and he was like, something ain't right here. Something's missing. Something doesn't quite add up the way that it's supposed to. I'm missing something, but I can't figure out what I'm missing. He was very depressed. He couldn't figure out, well, what is this? So fast forward to the coffee shop. He would go to the coffee shop, and he went with his business, one of the engineers at his job, and here walks in Trinity. Now, as we know, Trinity was his girl from all the movies prior. And when he sees Trinity, it's like, I wrote this in a song that I have not. I'm gonna finish writing. I probably finish writing it after this. Total Recall. He has not had a recall, but he knows her. It's a deja vu. And his spirit knows it, but he hasn't fully identified it. So he's fighting the reality that he sees to try to remember the substance of what happened in the previous films. Because reality is saying this woman's married to somebody else. She's got kids. There's nothing. Why am I even interested in her? Follow. You have to fight the identity, and you can't unknow your calling. Neo is the one. He's always been the one. But he didn't know he was the one in this environment, because in this environment, it says, I'm a video game programmer, but weird things are now starting to happen. Because once he came into the identity of who he was, he came into the realization something ain't right. So with that being said, he already knew in his spirit, though it was no evidence, I'm not this person. He knew he wasn't this engineer. The one in him knew he wasn't this person. As children of God, we are chosen. We know the life that we live before we come into the full identification of our calling. That's not our life. Something ain't right here. I'm not supposed to be here. There is a pull on your spirit. I've heard entertainers say this. I've heard people say this. And this is why my podcast is called Steam to Live the Dream, because we feel the scream in our spirit saying, this reality is not mine. What is going on? I need to follow that. He needed to follow that. You can use the substance to try to dull your knowledge, but it will have you, because when you are at rest, your dreams will remind you of who you are. Fear tries to make you doubt it. You know who you're called to be. He knew he was the one. He was having dreams of programs, and this is how he identified and developed the games that he was developing, because all he was doing was creating the video games of the films we'd seen prior. That's all he was doing. And his spirit identified with who he was, but he didn't realize that in this reality, which was a simulation, was a simulation, and the substance of the remembrance in his dream world that he was seeing the other world, that he was with Trinity, that he was in the one position. But he was doubting it because his reality did not match. Because false evidence will always speak louder than the substance of truth. His reality was telling him, you're this rich, you're this programmer, but his spirit was pulled in another direction. I'm not this guy. What is it with these dreams? Why am I seeing this? And then he started having the experiences where the agents started to follow him, and he was trying to fight the agents. And this is when the new Morpheus popped up. He needed to get into alignment with who he was so that that reality could start to fall away. When you are all in one accord, once together, you can come into the knowledge of the truth of faith, being revealed. Adam must wake up. Joseph had to come to the understanding after having the dreams. In this season, divine covenant and the one you are divinely aligned to walk with has to choose to walk with you. In this dream, I don't know if this is going to keep going, but we're going to go until it stops. But in the dream, what ended up happening was it ended up that he started to come to the understanding, this isn't my reality. And he made the decision that when Morpheus presented himself to him, he first tried to run from him, because that's what we do. We try to run from the reality. When I first started to see who the Lord was showing me, I was like, oh no, it's not possible that that's the guy. Because if that's the guy, that can't be the guy. Can that be the guy? But then as the Lord started to show me my calling, I was like, darn it, that must be the guy, because it's the only guy that could actually help me do that. When you realize who you are, I had to come into the identity of my purpose. And I'm gonna have a real, my honest moment with you. God's been telling me as of recently, you are running. And it's so funny because I was listening to a word this morning where they were talking about, the young woman was saying how it's been a running thing. And I'm like, I'm not trying to run. But I will be honest about this. Every time I try to step into the thing that I know is the thing I'm called to do, I've been prophesied over that it was a thing I've been called to do. The overall thing that I've been called to do, the thing that I've been preparing myself for, the purpose that I've been standing for, the things that I've been preparing for. When I tell you the warfare that has come against my body is real. I try to speak. I do a little bit too much of this. The next day I can't talk. I end up with severe pains when I get into certain elements of what I'm trying to do as I process what I'm working on. When I try to work on my computer on that thing, and I tell you, it's like I spiritually know something's fighting me from being able to work in this area on anything. And I'm just like, God, it's not that I'm trying to run. It's that I can't seem to get anything done in it. I can get the minimal amount of work done in it, and that is to write it out. And this season, all I've been able to do is write it out. I remember I was trying to structure it. I was blessed. I was able to structure a template for something in relation to one of the pieces of a project I was working on. And I tell you, it was a 3-day fight to get 2 hours of work for an 8-minute piece of a project done. I kept losing it every 2 hours. Every 2 hours. It was enough to make you go crazy. That's how bad it was. But I knew with my identity, that's the thing I was called to do. When he came into the realization of who he was called and what he was meant to do, it all worked into his favor. Now, there's a statement that says, because you are powerful alone, but together you are unstoppable, because you can put 1,000 to flight as one individual, but you can put two can put 10,000 to flight. The person you are divinely ordained to walk with will be able to move you so much further, so much faster, with an element of speed and acceleration that you did not have without that person. And I know this because I've noticed in the season that I've been walking in that I have tried my darndest. I will get projects and I'll start working on them and I'll get them to a certain point and I can't get past that point. It's like What just happened? Why is this happening? I should be able to keep going from here. Why can't I get any farther than this? Because I'm not aligned with the person I'm meant to be in alignment with. There have been words repetitively coming to me, whether it be from my coach, whether it be from the people that I listen to on YouTube, on my YouTube feed. They've all been saying the same thing. Your covenant's going to bring forth the manifestation and acceleration that you need in order to keep being able to move, which means that if I'm not able to move but so far, he can't either. And I was listening to something yesterday. It was talking about something in relation to that. It's like, they can't go that far without you, and you can't go that far without them. They'll be stuck and stagnant a little bit to a degree, and you will too. It's a statement that I repeat when I'm trying to get people to realize something. It's like a three-legged race, and your third leg is God, but the two of you are tied together at one leg. He can only go but so far ahead. If he can't get you to move with him, he's not going to be able to move that far. If I don't move with him, he's going to drag me. If I start to run and he's not moving, I'm going to fall flat on my face. The reason I can't get any further is because I'm falling flat on my face because he's not moving. The reason he starts moving and I feel like I'm being dragged or what have you is because I'm not moving at the pace he's moving. So it actually behooves us that we are separated at this particular point because of the fact that he needs to move to a degree, and that when we are in alignment, when two walk together lest they agree, we are more powerful. But spiritually, we are aligned. And I'm gonna share this. 5 years ago, I was laying in bed in New York, and it was right around Christmas time, Thanksgiving. I had a dream, and in the dream, I saw, you ever seen in movies, in music videos, perfect music video I can give you, look up Music Soul Child and Mary J. Blige. It's a divider. You're seeing Mary J. Blige's point of view, and then you're seeing music's point of view, but you're seeing them at the same time. I had a dream like that about me and the man that the Lord has shown me in my life that I'm supposed to be with. And in it, we were turned away from one another, but we were walking through two separate situations. And I heard, I'm showing you both at the same time certain things you need to go through. You're going to go through this. He's going to go through this. But you're going to be going through it at the exact same time. But you're not going to be together. He was walking us through a sequence of events that was identical, which is ironic because recently I was looking back at old clips from my favorite TV show. I'm a Buffy the Vampire Slayer childhood phenom fan. And I was looking at old clips from that, and something came to me. I was watching the old episodes from Buffy and Angel. Well, I think this is going to be two parts. I was looking at the old episodes of Buffy and Angel, and in it, I saw this, that she was doing a sequence of things and he was doing a sequence of things, and both of them were going through the same sequence of testing, but they were separate. She was dealing with having a sister. He was dealing with having a son. It was similar scenarios on two different planes. So it was a lot that came to revelation. I'll do a whole nother video on that if I choose to. I might pray about that and see if I can record content on that, because there's a whole revelation right there with the two of them in relation to kingdom marriage, and whole different story. But getting back to this, so as godly wives, we have to be the power to carry our husbands. We have to be the power that carry our husbands, and in their weakness, be the love and encouragement that they have to make them as their wives more powerful. But it only works when they work in tandem, as I was just saying, the three-legged race. You can't go but so far without them, they can't go but so far without you. How can you walk together unless you agree? When one falls, the other one can lift them up. Two lay down, they keep each other warm. So in the movie, getting back to the movie, Neo kept seeing Trinity. He met up with Trinity about 3 times in that film, in that reality. And he kept trying to figure out why. And what ended up having to be is, once he realized who he was, she had to realize who she was. But the fact of the matter was, and speaks so directly to the Kingdom Wives message, and ties it in, the man has to make the decision. Adam has to wake up. When Adam wakes up, Eve will be brought to him, but she has to choose to walk with him. Rebecca and Isaac. Rebecca had to meet the servant, and when the servant said, I need you to come with me to meet your husband, she had to choose to walk with him. In the film, he had come to the realization of who she was, but he had to leave that reality, coming into full alignment. That would be for us to come into full alignment, the man having to come in full alignment with the Lord, realize what he needed to do in spirit, come into agreement with it, and go fight to get to her. I've been having dreams about fighting to get to, and it's another person I listened to. She was talking about, it's Megan Michelle. Go watch her videos on Kingdom Marriage. She was talking about you have to fight to get to you. Because of the reality, they had been put on, it was almost like spiritual life support. He was in his capsule and she was in her capsule, because the only way that the reality, the spiritual universe that they existed in, meaning the Matrix, existed because of the two of them being the thing that supported it, because what had initially supported it was destroyed in the last movie. So them being connected to it was the only thing that was keeping the system alive. So when they came to the realization, he was brought back into that under universe, and they realized that they wanted to take her off the other pod, but they could not take her off the other pod to remove her from the Matrix until it was a decision made by her from within the Matrix to say, I want to come out. So he had to go back in, fully aware of who he is now as the one, but he did not have the strength. She did. Kingdom Marriage. The wives have the strength to carry the husbands, but because she was unaware, he wasn't strong enough to do it physically. Every time he went back into the Matrix, he had no strength, but she was carrying the strength, and it was only going to work if she woke up to it. But the fact of the matter was, what you later find is that she was already awake to it. Because when they had the final conversation in the cafe, she tells him, I've been watching your game. I've been playing it. I've been watching you the whole time. Let me tell you something about these Kingdom Marriage words. For the last year and a half, I've been seeing these words that keep coming up. They've been watching you. They've been watching you. They've been watching you. They've been watching you. Your ordained spouse has been watching you. They know who you are. They've just been watching from a distance. Even the word I just finished listening to, that the spouse, the husband, was watching her, the person I was talking about. They're watching you. They're seeing what you do and what you are about to do. And they're observing, because it's almost like the Lord is letting them know this is what you're doing. And when you see this, then it's time to go. I've been seeing confirmations on my YouTube. I take screenshots. There's going to come a time, and it ain't now, when things manifest the way that they meant to manifest. I will pray about it. When my spouse is around, we will talk about it. If it comes down to that, we will reveal it. But God gave me so many confirmations about this man. And as of recently, alignment, he's been showing me certain things that are saying certain things are about to occur. Get ready, because something's about to occur. As of recently, about a week and a half ago, I had a severe spiritual attack after receiving a prophecy, which I cannot repeat for safety precautions and security purposes. I cannot repeat, but it was confirmation. Nope, look like one of my ministers is releasing the word right now. But she gonna be on in a minute. Things are coming into alignment for these ordained marriages. Which brings me right down to the last point. Adam discovers Eve, but Eve has to choose to walk with him, be positioned, and take for her rightful place. Ruth sees Boaz. Ruth had to come to Boaz and make the point. It was Boaz's decision whether to take her as his wife. Esther had to be chosen by Xerxes, and she had to choose to walk through the steps that she had to walk through in order to become prepared to be his wife. Rebecca had to choose to walk with the servant to lead her house and everything that she knew to be with Isaac. Abigail, who is married to Nabal, when David killed her husband, that was a mess right there. David was a mess, man. Abigail had tried or came to him as a sacrifice, giving offering to him to preserve her husband's life. But after David ended up eventually killing him, she had to make the decision when David approached her to go and to marry him and be his second wife. The men have to make certain decisions, and the women have to make certain decisions. It's a choice. Trinity had to choose, but Trinity was already alert. Trinity was already aware. We as kingdom wives, when the Lord tells us what we need to know, and sometimes, let me tell you something. If you pray a specific prayer to the Lord, and you got to be walking with God, and coming into the fullness of the alignment of where he wants you to be, he will tell you who your spouse is. But you got to walk with him really closely, because I'm telling you, the counterfeits out here is real. I can't tell you how many times I've seen doppelgangers of the man that I'm supposed to marry. And people have told me that they've seen, I'm not being facetious when I say this, 16 different occasions I've ran into people that said that they saw people that looked identical to me, whether they were a little bit more light skinned or a little bit more dark skinned. Whichever way I had my hair at that time, they saw the person that looked just like me. Just like me. I remember I was in college. First time it happened. I come in, they said, "Weren't you just here?" Did you mean? I just said, I've never been here before. What are you talking about? It's like, you were just here about an hour ago. You did. What? Roommate. Do you? No, she was lighter than you. But I saw somebody, she looked just like you. But she was lighter than you. And she had red hair. All the way over in the other town. I'm like, wait, what? Same thing happened with my kingdom spouse. I had a friend that confided in who my kingdom spouse was at the time, and we were walking together in that season, and she said, dude, oh my God, look. That guy looked just like the guy. I was like, what? I turned around and lo and behold, if I'm lying, I'm dying. This dude looked like his identical twin. His hair was just longer. And it was funny because I love how the Lord talked to me, because earlier that day I had a vision and I was like, man, he would look good if he had this type of hair. This guy looked like that. And now that I think about it, all the Lord was saying was, you're going to run into somebody that looked like that. Mm-hmm. You're going to run into somebody that looks identical to that. But ironically, recently I've been having dreams of him having that kind of hairstyle, which I'm like, I don't think he would do that, but if he did, it wouldn't look bad on him. What's this last point? You have to always know fear will create doubt to feed the illusion. Otherwise, it is going to be a fight for both parties. With that being said, that was the end. The two had to come into agreement and a realization that, putting my glasses back on, they had to come into realization of where they were called and who they were called to. She had to come into agreement with who she was. And she had been sitting there the whole time observing, watching. She'd watched his games. She'd been fans of what he was doing. She'd been watching him in that reality. And when she came to the realization and he said, you ready to go? She said, let's go. And when she said, let's go, her power hit her. And the biggest fight scene that we saw the whole movie happened because all the strength happened in her. She was the one that was carrying it. The kingdom wives carry the strength for their husbands. We cover them, we encourage them, we are what they need, but they don't realize it. And one of the people I listen to, her name's Dr. Brittany G. But she goes under Keys to the Kingdom. She says that God has, it's 2 videos she did. What I might do is I'll link them in the description that talk about how in the reality of it, that God has had you walking one way and them walk, just like I said in that dream that I had 5 years ago, that he's been having you both do certain things, but as you're praying, it's affecting his life. As he's praying, it's affecting yours. I remember specifically praying. I was sitting in the library about 2.5 years ago, almost 3. And I said, I was going through a hard season. And in that season, I was like, Lord, is he praying for me? Because if he isn't, can you start to get him to pray for me? Just start to have him pray for me. Because this is ridiculous. Because it was bad during that season. I'm like, I need somebody praying for me. And I think he did. Because, and it's funny, I was listening to the word this morning, which is an old word from about 5 months ago. I'd never seen it before. This is what alignment does. The Lord will lead you to what you need to hear at the time. And I said, and she was talking about, are they praying for us too? Because sometimes we be going through it and we be like, man, I hope they're praying for us as hard as we praying for them, because we getting hit. But I remember there's another woman I listened to, Stephanie P. She released a video and she was saying that they know, they're seeing it, they're feeling it. They feeling the same thing that you're feeling. They're going through the same thing that you're going through. Her and Elise Marie said the same thing. They feel it. And I think she partially got it from her. They feel it. If I'm going through warfare, my God ordained spouse feels it. If he's going through warfare, I feel it. Sometimes I wonder, the spiritual attacks that I was going through with certain people, I was wondering, was he going through that with a relationship that was going on in his life at the time? Because there was some women that attacked me so daggone viciously, 3-4 different occasions. And I'm like, why is this happening to me? I don't do nothing to nobody. What? And I'm like, was there somebody in his life that was attacking him that way? Because I'm like, why? Identical experiences. But in the end, when they came into agreement with who they were supposed to be, she became the powerful one, and she was the one that was helping them fly. He couldn't fly without her. He couldn't soar without her. She was the one that was carrying them. As the wife, you will carry that relationship. You will be the anchor. You will be the prayer warrior. The Lord showed me about a year ago, a little over a year ago, around Christmas time. I was kneeling on the side of the bed praying in relation to my marriage when it manifests that, and the Lord showed me a sequence of flashes of time lapse. I was sitting at the corner of the bed the same way I was in that moment, but I knew I was sitting at the corner of it may have been the same bed, different rooms, same bed, or different beds, but I knew that that was my prayer posture. That over the time of my relationship, I was seeing time lapse. That was the place where most of my work would be done. At the corner of the bed, praying over my house, my household, and my family. Whether I'm in my prayer room, my prayer closet, at the corner of my bed, on my knees praying, I'm going to be praying over this. And I know because God pulled me tighter into Him to start praying over my God-ordained spouse. And the type of warfare that I experienced during that time frame was ridiculous because of it. And I mean, I knew that I was being fought because after about a week of praying, I was speaking with the Lord separately from that prayer. And for 2 weeks straight, I was having a hard time staying awake while praying the prayer over my marriage, which means I was being fought in the spirit, covering this man in prayer. I constantly pray. Now I pray more than I've ever prayed. And I actually had a conversation with a spiritual advisor of mine, and that person said, after she came to the realization of who it was that I was praying about, she said to me, "What did the Lord tell you to do?" And I said, in the dream, I heard very clearly, "Pray for him." She said, "You stopped praying, didn't you?" When I was going through the amount of warfare I was going through, I went through my doubt, which brings me back to the point that I said last. Fear is the substance of the fear is false evidence appearing real. That doubt will come in. In this season, I know I'm in alignment for certain things to manifest in my life because the doubt has been ridiculous. And it was so ridiculous, I'm like, that ain't even my doubt. You have to understand that the enemy will come after your thoughts and your thought processes with doubt that you do not understand. But you know it's not yours because it's ridiculous, vicious doubt. Because if the enemy can't get to you, what he will do is he will send thoughts, false evidence appearing real, to try to intimidate and scare you away from the promise. You'll come to the understanding that those are thoughts, and then the real revelation will come to you. I will have dreams. I will have understandings. I'm like, what is this? That was what the enemy was fighting you, because he needed you to doubt it. Because the more you doubt, you weaken the ability to cover the other person. And you need to cover that other person. Trinity was going through an experience separated from him, but he had to come into the realization of who he was and to come for her. He who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. She knew. She just needed him to figure it out. And when they came together, they soared, baby. I heard there's a clip from Sarah Jakes that says, "We make the devil mad." Let me see if I can find it in here. Because I wrote, there it is. Your marriage scares the devil so badly that you get married because you got vision together. God has been aligning me that I have a vision that's going to be a blessing to my spouse. That your marriage make hell mad. The reason that you go through warfare trying to get to this daggone thing is because your marriage make hell mad. It makes it very, very mad. This is why you fight like hell and you go through spirits and spells of doubt and all these things, because the enemy does not want you two together. As Pastor Dr. Jolene Whitaker says this all the time. She said that the devil is happy as long as you're dealing with these people. But the second you come into realization you're supposed to deal with that person, all hell will break loose, because the devil don't want you to deal with that person. If you get connected to that person, the devil don't want you next to that person. Because if you were that person, it's a wrap for him. Because why? You're unstoppable. You're unstoppable, and the devil don't want that. Because Neo and Trinity took off flying. Flying! That's a word in itself. They took off flying at the end of that movie. She was carrying him, but they were flying, man. And they were flying high because of her. She was moving at a speed of light. The wives will carry the husbands, but y'all will run together and y'all be unstoppable. Come on now. With that being said, I'm going to give you this last little element, and I'm going to insert a clip right here. I know it was 5 minutes. Um, I'm going to say this, that the fact of the matter is this: we are in a season of celebrations. Marriages are coming. They're coming with a vigorousness. It is predicted in 2022 that you're going to see a rapid manifestation of marriages unlike you've ever seen before. And by the end of this year, there will be a record number of marriages. I even heard it on Good Morning America. They were saying that it's predicted that there's going to be so many marriages this year that, and the process has already started. And Dr. Jolynn Whitaker released a word that stated that yes, marriages are coming, but she's saying that put your sweets in the freezer because a celebration is about to occur. A celebration is about to occur. Get ready to celebrate. And when you see it, you'll know to celebrate. I don't have a cake in the freezer, but you know what my dream cake would be? And I'm going to repeat it right here. It would be a German chocolate base layer, a vegan cheesecake layer, a red velvet top layer, and a chocolate whipped cream icing. Vegan whipped cream icing with strawberries. Because I've always been wanting to do a vegan chocolate strawberry shortcake. Chocolate strawberry shortcake. Where the cream whip had, it was still like cream, but you could tell it had a tint of chocolate in it. And I'm like, oh, that would be awesome. You heard it here first. That's the cake that, if I have a wedding cake, that's what I want. Mostly because I've always wanted it for my birthday. And my birthday's coming up this year. I don't know what's going to happen on it, but my birthday's coming up this year. In July. So, who knows? I might very well get the answer to both of my questions. Who knows? But that's what I had to say to y'all today. That was the alignment word. We're going to go edit this video because it's long and it's already split into 2 parts. It's going to have to be 3, actually 4, because I'm going to insert the video of that. So, love you guys. See you soon. Peace. This is Taj McCameron for Sacred Place Love Letters to God. Much love, faith, peace, and blessings to you.